Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today's our topic is synopsis and the course is the current trends in biochemistry. In this topic we have to study how can we write a synopsis. Synopsis is a very important part of a research study. When you have to plan a research project, you have to write up a synopsis for the approval of the board. This synopsis is actually the highlight of your research which you have been hypothesized for research. It is actually the plan of your work or project. Plan of your work or project which have been presented before a committee which can approve it as your research plan. It must be novel one and it must contain the contents of novel exercise, some novel thing which you have to be explored. Let's see if we know about all the components of the synopsis. Components. How can you write a synopsis? You have idea about the journal components of the synopsis, which are as following. Title, introduction, objectives, hypothesis, material and methods, review of literature, reference list. These are the general components of synopsis. First of all, you have to give a title to your study, to your work you have planned for your project. Introduction, then the introduction. You have to introduce the things which you have to be explored, and introduction must be very informative and it contains a brief background of the study. It must be written after the whole synopsis has been. We have to explore the literature and introduce the background of your study you have planned. Objectives, you have to give the idea about your research plan which you have planned by your objectives, which you have to be get on by these objectives. Hypothesis, you're thinking what results can be come out of your research plan is called as a hypothesis. And the material methods, the methods which are required for your study and the materials which are required for your study. Review of literature is actually the brief summary of your literature which you have studied for your plan of this synopsis work. And the reference list, at last you have to give the reference list of all the references which you have chosen in your synopsis. Right. We have I have give idea you about all these components one by one. The title. Title must reflect the whole research plan of your study. It should reflect objectives of your study, a true representative of the plan. It's actually a true representative of the plan of your work and should reflect the objectives of your study. So must you have the written title after the completion of your whole synopsis. You must be written the title of, you give the title to your study after when you have written the whole synopsis, always. The second part is introduction. Which is actually the background, brief background of your selected topic. It must identify the importance of your study. Its relevance and applicability to of the results which you have hypothesized can become doubt. Purpose of study. It must give the idea about the purpose of the study. So introduction contains the brief background of your selected topic. You have to give the brief background of your selected topic. If you choose a topic, you have to cover all the aspects of that topic by giving the background of that topic. Identify the importance of your study. You have to give the importance of your study, why you have choose this topic by going through the background. So you have to identify the importance of your work. Novelty of your work must be write up in the introduction part. Third one, its relevance and applicability of your results. Which results are come out of your study? You have to relevate them and applicate them with the background of the other studies in your introduction. At last, you have to give the idea about the purpose of your study, why you choose this topic. By going through these background, the learners or the readers must have idea about your purpose of study by going through your introductory part. Objectives. After the introduction, you have to write up the objectives of your study. It must be 2 to 3 clear objectives must be written. 2 to 3 clear objectives must be written in all type of synopsis. These contains the intent of what the researchers wants to do, stated in clear, measurable terms. Intent of what the researchers wants to do stated in clear, measurable terms. You have to describe your research plan in 2 to 3 objectives, what you want, what you have to do in your whole research work. So they must be very effective for the readers. Hypothesis. Hypothesis is statement that shows expected outcomes of your study. Hypothesis is actually the statement that shows the expected outcomes which comes from your study. Review of literature. In review of literature, you have to give the different literatures which you have studied for your synopsis write-up. In it, it just like that of introduction, but in more comprehensive form. It's just like that of introduction, and it contains all parts as it is written in the introduction, but in more comprehensive form. You should have to give idea about all the literature which you have studied for the planning of this synopsis. Next component of synopsis is material and method section. This is a very important section of very important component of synopsis, because in this component you have give the brief idea about your plan of work. Material method section is very important in the synopsis. It gives idea about the study design, you have to mention the study design your plan. Place of study, where this study have been going on. The workplace, where study is to be conducted. Then after study design and plan of study, duration of study, your sample size, sampling technique, inclusion or exclusion criteria, data collection procedure, data collection tools, data analysis, procedures, in this section you have to give the idea about the study plan, place of study, duration of study, sample size, sampling techniques which you have been chosen, inclusion and exclusion criteria of your study, data collection procedures which you have designed for your study, and the data collection tools which you have designed for your study, and the data analysis procedures, which different types of procedures which you have chosen for your study analysis should be given in the material method section. If you have choose the study of any type of antioxidants, any type of, for example, if you choose the study of antioxidants or any type of enzymes in your study, you have give the idea about the procedures which you have been used for the analysis of that enzyme's concentration or activity present in your sample. You should have to give all the procedures related to your study in this section by giving the citations of the references which you have chosen for this analysis. So it must be very comprehensive and it gives the whole idea about your plan of study which you have chosen. Also you have give the idea about the different type of instruments which you have used for your study analysis. You should have give the idea about the different types of instruments also which you have used in your plan of study in the material method section. In the last you have give the reference list in which all the references which are used in your synopsis, either in the introduction or either in the review literature or either in the material method section, you have to give a complete list of all the references which you have used in your synopsis. At last, in the last, you have give a abstract which give the idea about the whole plan of study in a short version, in a brief version. At last, I will give you the idea about how you write your references in the text or either in the reference list according to the style of the Government College University, Faisalabad. Citation style. Many of the citation styles can be chosen. According to our universities, they are variable according to the university rules and regulations. For one author, you must have written the name of the author, and the year in which the study is done, For two authors, or three, or more authors, within the text, the citation style is for one author, Hussain, 2013, the year, or the name of the author and the year is in brackets. For two authors, and is used, Hussain and Chetta, 2013, or the year is in the brackets. For three or more authors, Hussain et al. 2013, the year, or the 2013 is in the brackets. Reference style or citation style in the reference list. For example, The surname of the author must be written first, and the first and middle name in the form of alphabets. Similarly, this is the reference style for the GCUF. Then after the writing of all the authors of this article, you have to give the year of publication, and then after that the title of the article and the journal name. After the journal name, you have write up the issue number, which issue in this journal this article is cited, the volume number of that journal, and the page numbers from the starting and ending in full digits. That's all about the citation style of the references in Synopsis. At last, I give you the idea about that. Synopsis must be always written in the future tense, because this is the plan of study, and you have planned the study and the work is not done, it would be done in future, so you have to choose the future tense for your write-up of synopsis. That's all about the synopsis write-up. I think you have a better idea about the components of the synopsis, and you have the idea about how you can write up a synopsis. By going through this lecture, I give you the idea about the different components which are the important parts of the synopsis, and by going through these components of synopsis, you can write a well written synopsis which give the idea about the whole study of your plan of work. If you have any questions regarding the components of the synopsis and other issues about the how you can write a synopsis or the reference styles which you have choose for your text and for your reference list, you can approach me on the WhatsApp group or either on my email address or by putting comments in the comment section. Thank you so very much, students. That's all about the write-up of synopsis. After this, we have studied the difference in how can we write a thesis. Thank you so very much. Allah Hafiz.